Hello, welcome to the channel. In this video, we are going to talk about secondary suite. So it's also called legal suite or in-law suite. So it is a self-contained dwelling that is a part of a house. This is usually built with the existing single dwelling unit. Or this can be also built with the new build house. So this video will be helpful to you if you're buying a new house and you want to make sure that your basement will meet the secondary suite guidelines down the road in future if you want to build it, or you're already living in a house and you're planning to build your secondary suite and you want to know if your house has all the minimum requirements for the secondary suite. So I've already mentioned the definition of secondary suite. Now we will be talking about the basic and the code requirements that you need to have in the house to get your permit and the inspection passed for your secondary suite. So in the requirements, first I will talk about the minimum requirement of unfinished basement. So you can see it or you can calculate it without being your basement finished. So these will be the basic before starting requirement of your basement. And then I will talk about the requirements that you must have when your basement is finished. So the first basic requirement is to have a direct exit to the outside. So this means there should be a separate entrance door that directly leads the basement occupant to the outside in case of fire. Now the second requirement is the ceiling height. So it is 1.95 meter or 78 inches of height for unfinished basement. And now the third requirement is that each bedroom space must have one minimum window and it must be of unobstructed size, not less than 0.35 meters square or 543 inch square. And the minimum dimension that it must have is 15 inches. So now, as mentioned, for the measurements of the basement window that must be in your bedroom, so the opening, so that means the slider part, so if this one opens completely and the open portion that goes out should not be less than 543 inches square. Okay, and then the minimum dimensions for the window, either the top or the sideway that opens, should be 15 inches. I measured the window, so from top to bottom, this window is 26.5 inches, and from this side to this, it's 24 inches. So now if I calculate it, it goes to 636 square inches. So we meet the guideline in that way. And then also, as per the other guideline, the opening should not be less than 15 inches. So in that case, this side is 24, this is 26.5 inches. So we meet that guideline as well. And now we will talk about the window well guideline from the outside. So now the second code is that the window, that's the opening here, and that point and the window well, that axis should be minimum 30 inches. So when I measure it, I'll show you. So it is set at 30.5 inches, so you're safe to go. Then there's another scenario. Sometimes it happens that there's a cantilever above the window, so we will discuss that as well. So now there's another example here. If you see on the fixed side of the window, there's a cantilever, but if that cantilever was on this side where the slider opens, then it won't pass the inspection, right? So if you see now that the axis that where a person or an occupant need to come out, it's completely open, so you will be safe with this kind of this kind of window. And he just wanted to say hi. Now if you see this window, it's completely covered by the cantilever. So if the window well was normal here, it won't pass the inspection. So now the window well is extended. So I will measure it and tell you how long it is. So this window well is 58 inches. So that means now after the cantilever, there is enough space for us to pass the code and inspection. So now the three things we just discussed, that's the outside door, ceiling height, and the window in your bedroom, are the minimum requirements that you must look for before starting your basement or before applying for the permit of your basement. And now we will discuss for more that you will need to add in your secondary suite, and I will explain those as well. So now the first one will be your mechanical room. So mechanical room is where there is furnace, hot water tank that can cause a possible fire in case of any malfunctioning, must be properly sealed and covered with half-inch drywall. And if there's any place where you can't put drywall, like if there's any duct going on and you finish the drywall but there's still a space, you must seal it with fire-rated spray foam or fire-rated insulation to make the mechanical room properly sealed. And also the door leading to your mechanical room area or mechanical space must be 32 inches wide. Then doors in the smoke-tight barrier area, so such as mechanical room or any mechanical space, and also between the house and the basement, must be made up of solid core wood 45 mm, which is a fire-rated door, and then also it should be self-closing and sealed around with a weather strip. As mentioned in the definition, that secondary suite is self-contained. So that also means that the secondary suite must have its own independent heating and ventilation system. So now for that one, the heating system can be anything. Homeowner can explore their options to minimize the cost, but the control for that heating system must be in the secondary suite, and it can be controlled by the occupant. And then for the ventilation system, it is to minimize the contaminants in the basement air, so especially if there's any fumes like radon fumes and then cigarettes and all those stuff. So it must be quickly ventilated so that occupant can control its own ventilation system. Then also a secondary suite must have interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide alarm, and that should be interconnected between the basement unit and the main house. So just in case if there's a fire on the main floor, in the main house or the basement, then all the occupants of the house are alarmed and then they can exit the property as soon as possible. And there is also a code for sound transmission between the main building, which is the main house, and then the secondary suite. So it has to be separated so that the noise transfer is minimized. So there are multiple criteria. So it can be either engineer stamped acoustic design that will follow the minimum of ASTC 47 rating, or it can be finished with another method that can have a minimum rating of STC 50. And then the least or the simplest way is to follow, which is called a prescriptive method, and then you have to use a bat, which is a sound absorbing material, so bat insulation. So you have to fill it between the joists space and then put the resilient channels on the joists, on the bottom of the joists, and then put the drywall on the top. So what this will do is this will minimize the noise being transferred, but make sure that during this process the air return joists or the air return vents are not blocked by the bat insulation. So there's also a requirement to have 3-car parking on your driveway and the garage. So as you see, house number 1, the garage is double-car garage and 2 cars can fit inside and 1 car can fit on the driveway. But on the other side, house 2, there is only single-car garage, so 1 car can fit inside the garage, 1 on the driveway. So this house will not qualify to get the permits for secondary suite. Now at the end, we will talk about the benefits of secondary suite. So it's great benefit for homeowners, tenants, and even your community, or you can say your city. Homeowners, building secondary suite adds as an extra income which can help them with their mortgage. It raises the property value. So now also if you're reselling the house, a buyer will prefer a house with finished secondary suite so they can rent it right away, or they can also use it for their extended family. And for tenants or the community, it's really an option as affordable housing. So they are getting all the benefits of a house like kitchen, washroom, all the appliances, everything, but at a lower cost. Also, as secondary suite comes with benefit, there's also a disadvantage but if you overall look at it, it won't be. So when you build a secondary suite, your value of the property goes up, plus there's an additional property tax on your house because there's a second household now. And then also your cost for garbage collection will go up because there's a second address or the second household as well. But this gets covered with the rent from your basement, and then you can settle it out. But I just wanted to mention that in this video. Hope all the information provided in this video will help you to plan for your future secondary suite. So if you like the information, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you.